So why we need the sampling? We will implement the sampling theorem using Python on Google Colab, as well as we will implement this sampling on uh, Scilab. Okay, so both ways we are implementing this, and I hope everybody is using their own laptops for understanding this. In the previous lecture, I have also given you the idea related to uh, Google Colab and Teachable Machines. This you should have. These are the cloud platforms provided by Google for performing the various experiments. You can implement it on Python and the other languages, Java, C, etc. So in digital communication, basically communication is exchange of two informations between the two entities, right? Communication, and as far as the electronic communication is concerned, there are the two entities. One is the transmitter and one is the receiver. So when we are transmitting and receiving, so there are three categories of communication. The one is called as a half. The one is called, what are the types? The first is called as a half duplex. Is my screen visible to you all? Half duplex. Second is called as, sorry, first will be simplex. Am I right? Simplex. Then second is called as a half duplex, and next is called as a full duplex. Can anyone give me the idea of what does it mean? You have already studied the communication, analog communication in the last semester. Yes, anybody? These three categories of communication: simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. In case of simplex, the communication is only one way, that is only the transmitter is talking with the receiver. Second is half duplex. The transmitter and receiver both can communicate with each other, but one at a time. And in case of full duplex, the transmitter and receiver can talk simultaneously. So that is the three modes of communication. Let it be analog or let it be analog or digital communication. So the full duplex means was there are two separate channels are allocated for transmission as well as reception. In case of half duplex, there is a single channel, one at a time. It can be used either for transmission or for the reception. Okay, so let us first have the clear idea of sampling theorem and why we need the sampling. So basically, all the signals are analog in nature, as discussed previously. You must be remembered. So I'm just considering one analog signal with voltage with respect to time. Okay, and these signals are analog because these signals are called as analog. Why they are called as an analog signal? They are continuously changing with respect to time. Okay, the changes are continuous, the changes are not in terms of steps. So that is the reason why we call it as the analog signal. Now here we can see that discrete signal, if I want to represent the same signal in the form of a discrete signal, okay, you can stop me at any time for asking the questions. And this thing like V and T. So in case of discrete signals, we can see that the signals are changing abrupt with respect to time. The changes are very sharp. Can you see the difference? Yes, so this type of signal is called as digital signal. Now why we need to convert the, when we need to convert the analog signal into the digital form, we need to take the samples. And why we need to complete, why we need to why we need to take the samples, and why we need to convert the analog signals into digital signals? There are two things. One is that all sources which belongs, basically all the sources of information are in the analog form. For example, a speech or voice signal is analog in nature, image signal is analog in nature, brightness information. Then maybe a video, which is image played with respect to time, is analog signal, or any text message is analog in nature. Are you getting this? The source of information is always analog, right? Source of information is always analog. But when we need to process that information, when we need to process that information, so when we need the process means what? Processing is basically storage of information, providing security to the information or safety or privacy to the information, and The next important thing is that to have all the devices which we are having using in day-to-day life are digital in nature, right? So there is a severe need of generating or converting this analog signal into digital. And that is what, when we are converting an analog signal into digital form, there is one specific term called as an analog to digital converter. Have you heard this word?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just pay attention, very basic things. So analog to digital conversion may the process which we are carried out, that is nothing but that process is called as sampling. Are you getting this point? Sampling is taking the samples of analog signal and converting into the form of discrete signals. So this process is called as sampling. Any questions up till this point? So when I'm talking about the sampling, it is nothing but conversion of analog into digital signal, right? So generally, now do you see the next screen? Generally, sampling deals with conversion of analog into digital. So here you can see a signal which is analog or continuously time variant signal, and there is a circuit called as a sampler. Okay, this sampler is nothing but a train of continuous pulses or sampling functions, and that will be converted into the corresponding samples. So this signal is called as a sampled signal. Okay, so xc of t is called as a basic analog signal, which is continuously changing with respect to time. Sampler is nothing but the sampler function, which is nothing but the square wave pulses. Basically, they are continuously running square waves. They have same amplitude and same interval time gap between the two pulses, adjacent pulses, and these two signals are basically getting convoluted. The convolution is nothing but that term is called as a multiplication. So what happens over here is a convolution. Okay, convolution का मतलब frequency में in the it is a multiplication in frequency domain. Is it clear up to this point? So generally signals are analog in nature. As I have so told, the speech signal, weather information signal, or whatever signal in day-to-day practice we consider, all are in analog in nature. Okay. So when we want to communicate those signals with the digital media, we need to follow the process of analog signal and we need to convert into digital form. So that signal is called the discrete time signal. Okay. And there should be and then they should be converted with some sequence number should be given, that we will see in the next slide. The process of converting analog signal to digital is called as an analog to digital converter. So what are the steps involved? First you need to take the samples of the signal, then you need to quantize those signals, and then you need to coding. Now what is the meaning of sampling? Sampling is, see, now I'm just drawing the diagram once again. This is the analog signal. So suppose I have taken one sample here, one sample here, one sample here, like that. I'm not taking the full part of the signal. The sampling should be done in a proper way, that there is a trade-off actually. So whatever dot I'm making, they are nothing but the samples on the analog signals. Now these signals are multiplied with the train of pulses, as you can see it over here. Okay. And in the output, we get the output in this form. Do you see this? Do you understand this? So this is nothing but a sampled signal at the output, which we are getting over here. Do you see this? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the minimum, and from there it will go into the negative level like this. So this is how this signal is called as the sampled signal. Okay, so this signal is called as a sampled signal. Now, what is the main criteria? When we are converting any analog signal to digital form, can we afford any loss of information?
Oh,
So this process is
No,
called
ma'am.
as a sampling. Suppose I'm talking to you, my signal is being converted into electrical form, and later on it is we are the encoder is taking the sample of it. The sample should be good enough so that my voice should be reproduced in an original manner so that you can listen to me clearly. Yes or no?
yes, yes, ma'am.
So this
Yes, ma'am.
form of representing the information faithfully at the receiver, okay, without loss. Okay. Information should be represented faithfully or reconstructed as the original information, so that is called as fidelity. Have you heard this word? In case of television, usually
Yes,
we
ma'am.
use the word called as a hi-fi. Yes, what we use the word? Hi-fi, right? So hi-fi stands for high fidelity. That means the sampling process is done in such a way that the reproduced signal at the receiver is a completely replication of the or duplication of the original signal. So that is called as fidelity. Okay. So on what factor this fidelity will be dependent? How the samples are taken, right? The sample should be enough so that it will not lose any information, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How we can construct the signal at the receiver? The sample should be close enough, right? The sample should not be like one sample is taken here, one sample is taken somewhere else. Okay, suppose only minimum, if the samples are less, then there's a possible of loss of many important information in between, right? So the sample should be taken as close possible, as close as possible, right? Okay, so is the sampling clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, next is the quantization. Quantization means basically we are nearing the samples to one particular level. What a quantizer does? Quantizer basically, it is nothing but dividing the entire samples into the fixed windows. Okay, so this process, can you see here? A quantizer can be starting minimum with the 2-bit quantizer to n number of bit, and the number of quantization steps will be depending on how many bit quantizer we are using. Okay, so quantizer assigns the nearest possible value. For example, if the signal is having the 00 amplitude, so the quantizer will assign the value to it as a, it will set the values at the 00 level. If the signal is increasing, suppose it is having the maximum value 5 volts, okay, then it will give the, in 2-bit representation, it will give the value maximum number in binary, and that will be 1 1. So that is how quantizer, basically quantization process is quantizes the signal into the basic different windows. Okay, then there is another word called as a quantization error. Okay, basically quantization is nothing but the approximation process. Quantization is nothing but it is the approximation process, right? Means we are nearing the sample signal to its nearest level of उसका window का जो भी boundaries है, we are nearing that values to that particular limit of that windows. Okay, so when we are talking about the approximation, there is a question of, there is always the possibility of error, right? And that error which is caused because of the approximation of the sampled signals, that error is called as quantization error. Are you getting this point? This has all been covered in analog communication. This is just a revision for the digital point of view, digital communication point of view. So the next part is a coding. Coding is nothing but once the signal is sampled, suppose the signal, you have the values of signals, right? Now coding is nothing but assigning the binary values to each sample. Like suppose 000, if I'm using the 3-bit encoding mechanism, then what will be there? The minimum signal will be represented with the 000 and the maximum signal will be represented by 111. Are you getting this point? So suppose I'm 0 is for 0 volt and my maximum amplitude is 5 volt. That means we are analyzing the in between values, we are assigning to the between levels of the signal. So coding ka matlab, what is the meaning of coding? Coding is basically assigning, coding is basically assigning the binary values to the analog sampled signal. So is the sampling, quantization and coding. I hope this is clear. So type of signals may, we'll see what are the types of signals. Analog signals we are already aware of. They are the continuous in time and amplitude. We have already known what is voltage, current and temperature, etc. These signals are called as analog signals. Then digital signals, they are discrete both in time as well as the amplitude. For example, they will having the limited values. Like here example is given, attendance of this class, digitized analog signals. Discrete time signals, they are discrete in time and continuous in amplitude. So there is one example given here as the Hurley's change of temperature in Austin, like means how the temperature is changing with respect to time. That can be the example of discrete time signals. You must have studied this all in the digital, like what is a signals and systems, right? So again, coming back to the process of sampling, do you see all of you? Can you see the screen here? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what
Yes.
is the yes? So sampling is the process of a continuous time signal converted into discrete signal. Just I have explained you a continuous time signal, wherein continuously changing time signal is converted into the discrete signals or the samples. Okay. So discrete time signals by taking samples of continuous time signal at discrete time intervals. Now this term is very important. The samples are taken at the discrete time intervals. So that is shown with the example over here. This is the equation for that. X of n of ts, where x of t is the analog signal. This is the analog signal x of t, and capital T is a sampling interval. So this is how the mathematical representation of sampling is done. We'll understand it with more clarity. So this is nothing but the Nyquist theorem you have already studied, right? Sampling theorem gives the criteria for minimum number of samples that should be taken. I have already discussed this with just 10 minutes before. The signal should be represented faithfully at the receiver, right? Because the process of taking the sample itself, there is a possibility of losing some of the information because we are not considering all the points of the analog signal. We are just taking the intervals and we are choosing some points on that analog signal. So that should not, that should be, there is a trade-off, and how the signal should be sampled, that basically is considered with the important theorem called as, or the criteria called as a Nyquist criteria here. So sampling theorem gives the criteria for minimum number of samples that should be taken for producing the signal in a original manner. Okay. So that is the criteria here. Fs stand for the sampling frequency, and omega is the higher frequency signal, higher frequencies in the incoming signals. Okay. So sampling frequency should be twice the value of the maximum frequency in the incoming signal. So this is not nothing but the Nyquist criteria for sampling. Okay. If this equation is not followed, or the if suppose if you are getting some other like what are the other possibilities, that sampling frequency is less than twice omega, sampling frequencies is equal to 2 omega, and sampling frequency is greater than or equal to 2 omega. Which is the best possibility? This is the possibility 1, possibility 2, and possibility 3. Okay. So the sampling frequency should be always greater than or equal to the twice omega. So this is also okay. This is very good condition. Condition number 3. This should be avoided. This is not required. If the sampling frequency is less than the 2 omega, the signal will be, there will be distortion in the reproduced signal. Are you getting this? There will be distortion in the reproduced signal. Yes? So Nyquist rate is defined as the minimum sampling rate for the perfect reconstruction of the continuous time signal from the samples. So this point I have to elaborate. Nyquist rate that defines the Nyquist rate said that the fs should be greater than or equal to the maximum frequency of incoming signal. This is called as a Nyquist rate, and that should be for reconstruction. The perfect, this sampling rate is for the perfect reconstruction of the signal. See, remember, incoming signal is this. Then what we are doing? We are multiplying the signals with the train of pulses, and we are getting the sample signal like this. But when we are getting this at the receiver needs to reconstruct the signal for generation of the original information back to the original form. And for that, this fs stands for sampling pulses, and this is signal, this is the frequency of this is called as a omega. Okay, and the relation is given like this: fs should be greater than or equal to twice of omega. Suppose omega is equal to 100, then fs should be at least equal to 200 hertz or greater than 200 hertz. Are you getting this point? So maximum frequency of incoming signal is 100. So fs should be greater than 200 hertz. Matlab twice of omega. Omega is 100. So sampling signal should be, just for example I am taken over here, it should be equal to 200 hertz or more. Then only it is possible to reconstruct the signal at the receiver. Otherwise, most important information in the original signal or the message signal will get lost. Okay, so for better sampling rate, Nyquist rate is equal to twice than the highest frequency component, that is equal to 2 into omega. So the sampling rate must be greater than or equal to the Nyquist rate. So the proof, in the proof what we are going to see, there are two parts basically. Am I audible to you? So xt
Yes,
is, I
ma'am.
have told you,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
is the information signal of your the message signal, original signal. Okay, that is x of t. And there are two parts. We need to represent the x of t in the form of samples, and second part means we are reconstructing that signal at the receiver. So a representation of x of t in its samples form. First, we need to define x0 of t. Then we need to take the Fourier transform. Why we take the Fourier transform? Can anybody tell? There are two domains of for analyzing the signal, from time domain to frequency domain. Getting this point? From time domain to frequency domain. When we take the Fourier transform of x0 of t, it will be converted. यहाँ पे दिख रहा है, this is the t and this is f, right? So Fourier transform is taken because we need to multiply the pulses with respect to we need to do the convolution process, that is a multiplication process of the pulses with the message signal. So that is done in the part of second step, in the by taking the Fourier transform. Then relation between x of f and x0 f, and then relation between x of t and x n of ts, where ts is a sampling time and x of t is the original signal. So reconstruction signal में we are taking the inverse, transmission में we have taken the Fourier transform. So at the receiver we need to take the inverse of Fourier transform of x0 of f, so that the signal which was in the form of the signal which is in the form of frequency domain will be converted back to the time domain and x of t. So invert transform में क्या होगा? The signal will be converted from x of 0 f, which was in the frequency domain, it will be converted back to x of t. And with the help of interpolation function, we are reconstructing the signal at the receiver. So basically, aliasing is nothing but a distortion effect that is caused due to the loss of some relationship. Ideal relationship is mentioned over here, that the sampling frequency should be always greater than or equal to the twice of the maximum frequency of the incoming signal. If this condition fails, what will happen? The At the receiver, these pulses will get overlap. Can you see this? The adjacent information is getting overlapped on each other. Can you see this? Now this diagram is explained in the form of frequency domain, not in the time domain. Okay. So this overlapping area is called as aliasing error. When it is occurring, when it is occurring when fs is less than or equal to twice of omega. Here, the condition for sampling fails. What is the requirement? Ideally, this should be requirement. Fa should be equal to twice of the omega, but here the condition is getting failed, and because of that, the pulses which have been sampled are getting overlapped when it is coming to the receiver, and receiver will not be able to understand कि coming information may either it is 0 or 1. Remember, analog signal are sampled and after sample they are quantized, and after quantization there is one term called as a coding. What we do in a coding, we are assigning the binary information to the information, binary bits to the information. So the receiver should get proper zeros and ones, but due to aliasing error what happens, there is a possibility that the zero may be received as one and the one may be received as zero. Are you getting this? So this type of error is called as aliasing error.
Yes, ma'am.
So determine the Nyquist rate for a continuous time signal. So it is a signal is defined over here. Signal is defined as S of t is equal to 5 of cos 50 pi t plus 20 of sine 300 pi t and minus 10 of cos 100 of pi t. Remember students, signal is not only consist of single waveform, it consists of multiple waveforms, okay? Like this, a single signal can be having a multiple periodical signals inside it. So one signal may be of 5 cos 50 pi t, another signal may consisting of 20 sine 300 of pi t. Now whatever these numbers are given over here, 50, 300 and 500 etc., whatever numbers are given inside the equation, they are nothing but the frequencies. Okay, what is the formula for omega? Omega is equal to 2 pi f. This formula is known to you already. Okay, so 5 cos, 5 is the amplitude, 50 is the frequency, and pi is a fixed term, and t is a time period. Okay, so what should be the Nyquist rate for this signal? Now we see that in general form any continuous signal can be written as, this is a general representation of the signal. S of t can be written as first amplitude cos j omega 1 t plus a2 cos j omega 2 t, a3. There may be n number of such signals, so but we are considering, for the sake of understanding, we are considering only three components of signal. So in case of first, f1 is equal to, with this formula, say omega 1 is equal to 2 pi f1. So f1 will be is equal to 2 pi by omega 1, right? I'm sorry, it was just opposite to that. F1 will be equal to omega 1 divided by 2 pi. Am I right? I hope this equation is known to you all. Omega is basically 2 pi f or 2 pi by t, as the frequency is a reciprocal of time. So f1 can be written as omega 1 by 2 pi. So for this component, the first signal, now pay attention what is the meaning of this. The first signal 5 cos, this is the first component of in the signal, incoming signal. So that is nothing but a 5 cos 50 omega t. So here this 50 pi t is the omega function. So from that we can calculate the frequency by using the relationship f1 is equal to omega 1 by 2 pi. Omega 1 is how much? Is 50 divided 50 pi divided by 2 pi. So that will be coming to 25 hertz. F2 is the second component of the signal. From here 20 sine 300 pi t. Okay, so from this relationship we can find out the what is the second frequency with the formula omega 2 divided by 2 pi. Here omega 2 is 300 pi divided by 2 pi, it will be 150 hertz. And f3 is omega 3 divided by 2 pi, so we are getting it as a 50 hertz. So from this entire signal S of t, the maximum frequency here is 150 hertz. So this 150 hertz will be considered as the final omega for the incoming signal for calculating the Nyquist rate. Okay, so this is 150 hertz. 150 hertz is the maximum frequency in the incoming signal, and from that we can calculate the Nyquist rate as, we have to simply multiply it with the, so Nyquist rate will be equal to, we have to multiply this with, as shown here, twice of 150 hertz. So Nyquist rate here will be basically 300 hertz as shown over here. I hope the relationship is clear now. So we have to see the various signal components in the incoming signal, and we need to find out which is the maximum frequency component signal in the entire incoming signal, and from that we have to calculate the Nyquist rate by multiplying that frequency signal by 2. So this is how the Nyquist rate is calculated from the incoming signal. See, this is the sampling theorem implemented using Python code on Google Colab. I have already given you the idea about the Google Colab platform. It provides you the basic platform, cloud-based platform for generation of the, it contains various libraries in Python. Whatever, suppose if you are using something related to image, it will have, you need to import the image related libraries. If you are using something related to communication, then you need to use some communication related libraries of Python. So all these codes are available online, and this also I have taken it from the internet code. This is not by, the coding is not done by me, but only I need to explain you is that we can implement the sampling theorem and any other digital communication practicals, so on and so forth, whichever we are going ahead with this. So you should be able to implement it on Google Colab as well as on the Scilab. So my request is to you to just download the Scilab 6.1.0 version in your laptop, and that's it. From you can just copy the code and run it on the, and it is very easy to to run it on the Google Colab. Just you have to run the use. It's very user friendly. Here, if you write a plus code, you will get a code window, plus text window. You can, if you want to write, give some heading related to your code, then that will be, that can be done with plus text. Like if I have done a plus text over here, I can just uh, type anything that is related to that. So that is how this is possible. See here, this is a text window appearing over here. So I can write here as my name. आई थिंक बहुत सारे लोगों को ये पता होगा, डिजिटल कम्युनिकेशन, शाहीन अडवाणी, lab 1, experiment number 1 I have already given. This is a sampling theorem, experiment number 1 in Python. And if you need to go for adding the code window, you need to just put a plus sign on the code. So here you can write the corresponding any code of any language, but make sure whatever you are importing, for before that you need to import the libraries of Python for that. So since I'm interested in implementing the code in digital communication, so I have imported the important libraries that are related with the communication. Okay, and these are nothing but the numpy import line space between the two adjacent signals, cos value, pi value, then cell. These are the upper and floor is the upper and lower boundary limit of the signal, and then arranging the signal. Then one more import library, I have imported one more library that is for plotting the graph of the output and showing the result as well as the axis of the output signal. So here the first sampling theorem is band limited to 40 hertz. That means the maximum frequency here is a 40 hertz, and the sampling rate of the 800 hertz. That means here input frequency is 40, and these are the time limits -3 to +3, sorry, 0.3. And this is the formula for the incoming signal. X is equal to cos of 2 pi by t plus cos of 2 pi f of t. So this is nothing but the signal which is going to get sampled. And after running, so this is the first case, 40 into 800. The second case, sampling the signal with the sampling rate, यहाँ पे frequency is increased to 80 hertz and the corresponding plot is drawn for that. The next is the sampling rate is increased or changed to 35 hertz with the Nyquist rate, and the corresponding output is plotted for that cases. So even if you are seeing the long code over here, basically it is the simple experiment of this, even this much also you can implement from here to here, that is also sufficient. Just what you are doing, you are plotting the signal with the corresponding libraries in the Python. So can you see this? Here we can see the output. Now this symbol is indicated as the output signal. So this is the original signal with the blue color, and the red one is showing you the sampled signal. So this is how the samples have been taken from the corresponding original signal. So a red curve is showing you the sampled signal, and blue curve is showing you the original information or message signal, like that. So this is how it is been implemented. So you can just Google a code for Python for sampling. You will get a code from the on net also. You can just put it over here. Go to Google Colab and just copy it over here. And ये जो button है, this button is for running. Can you see this button is running and it will generate the corresponding output below it. So it is so user friendly and self understanding. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.